My microphone went off. The green light's not on anymore. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. The City of St. George, Louisiana Board of Adjustment meeting for Monday, October 6, 2025 is now called to order. Please rise for the pledge. I guess it's behind the scenes with that. Here it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is a roll call. Would you call the roll, please, Madam Clerk?
Christina Peck,
Here.
Reagan Jones,
Here.
Sheila Lewis,
Here.
Robert Douglas, Dennis Spears.
Here.
Item number 3 on the agenda is approval of the minutes from September 8, 2025, meeting of Board of Adjustment. The draft minutes were made available to all board members, and they were posted on the planning and zoning website via a link. You'll have a motion to approve the minutes for the September 8 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Anyone opposed? The minutes are hereby approved. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing for number V is in Victory 25-17, request for a variance to reduce the corner side yard setback. This is a 0.38 acre property located at 6445 Feather Nest Lane. The applicant requests a variance to section 7:11.2.1 to reduce the corner side yard setback from 15 feet to 0 feet to specifically and only allow the 14-foot wide parking maneuvering area expansion in the A1 single-family residential zoning district. This board has the authority to permit the variance under section 7:2.3.3.C. The applicant is Marcus Scott Allen of Skilled Contractors LLC on behalf of the owners Dwayne and Brandy Cothran. Is there someone here to speak with regard to this particular matter?
I am.
Would you please come to the microphone? I'm going to turn my mic off while you're speaking because we have feedback problems. Please turn yours on. If you hit the button, it should come up green.
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name.
My name is Marcus Scott Allen of the Skilled Contractors. And we're requesting this variance for a driveway parking extension, as you can see, it's pictured there. What information can I give you other than what we're asking for?
Well, in reviewing the application and then the report of the staff, I see that this was actually constructed without a permit. And
Yes, ma'am.
there was a citation of a violation. And so basically, even though you're asking for a variance, this
You want
project has already been forward. Yeah. if you could-
So- when the city of St. George became a municipality, I called and asked what code books were enforced, and they said we follow everything that Baton Rouge has done. So, okay, great. Previous customer of Cothran's contacted me about extending the driveway, leads into the driveway. We then got notice that it was not, that we needed a permit. And I called East Baton Rouge Parish and said, y'all have never required me to pull a permit before for a driveway. Is that something you require? No, it's not. Okay. So then I called back and I spoke to the chief building inspector for St. George, and I went in and had a meeting with him. And the first thing he said was, well, it's on their books, but they don't enforce it. And we actually sat in a meeting. It was several of us in there. I don't have everyone's name. I get it for you. So I thought I did my due diligence. And in the meantime, I pulled several other permits with St. George, try to follow the rules. At which point then they told me that the only way that we wouldn't have to tear it out would be if we came and we just apply for and receive this variance.
Are the property owners here or?
Yes, sir.
is your-
Neighbors.
This is if you can have a seat.
Yes, sir.
You may have, anyone have any questions before you
I do.
sit? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's
You want your mic back?
You know, turn mine off.
Okay, so your request is for a variance from 15 feet to 0 feet. I'm a little confused on where that actually is. Where's the setback that we're talking about? Is that clearly shown on any of your drawings?
No, sir, because once we were told we had to file for, we made this drawing showing exactly what we had done. And then the permit was immediately denied because they said we were in the setback. In the documentation, I don't know if you have this. I got this off the St. George webpage, what we were trying to do. Can I bring this to you?
I've got that.
Got it.
That's this right here.
Yes. So it's, now
So is this 15 feet off the street? Is that what the 15 feet they were talking about here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, I was just a little confused. I mean, the existing driveway encroaches, obviously, has to encroach across
The existing driveway is 32 feet wide.
right, but it's in that that same
Yes, sir.
15-foot setback.
So we're requesting that we don't have to tear any of the driveway.
Understood.
So is it going all the way to the right, to the property line itself and sitting on the property line?
The drive, no, sir. To the far right, there's another 16 feet from there to the far.
I guess I also have a question about, this being. This 15 feet of concrete is within a public right. And it says the variance request is intended only to legalize parking and maneuvering within the 15-foot area. Do you know what the purpose of the right of way is? I mean, I can see how could there be a problem if someone parks in a public right of way and then they need to get into that right of way for some purpose, and if whoever parks there is not there to move the vehicle. So, yeah, I understand using it for driveway purposes, but generally you don't park in your driveway in the public part of the right of way.
Correct.
The driveways in my subdivision all cross through the public right of way, but we don't park
Correct.
in that driveway. And it appears that this variance doesn't just request use of this 15-foot area for ingress and egress, but possibly for parking. And I have a question about parking within the public right of way, particularly if the person who parks there isn't readily available to give access if needed to that public right of way.
Yes, ma'am. I guess my question to that would be what access would be needed from the roadway to that first 15 feet?
Well, obviously, there might be some access needed, or we wouldn't have a public right of way. I don't know, maybe if they were, if it's underground utilities, or even just to mow, if we were mowing that. I don't know if we do. It just seems to me, to give a variance for your driveway access, I can understand. But, because you don't want to have to tear up what you've already widened, but with that street there and there being a public right of way there, I don't know that we want to give a variance to allow vehicles to park on this pavement within that right of way, because there may need to be access to that right of way, or just for safety purposes, to have vehicles park right up to the edge of the street like that. Because the way I'm looking at it, what the variance is requesting is not just driveway and, the ability to maneuver, turn around, but also the ability to park.
Is this the lot on the corner of, Feather Nest and Doubletree? So we keep talking about a right of way. I don't see a right of way. Is it just a 15-foot setback for building code? There's no actual right of way.
There's no
There's no servitude.
servitude there. That would be on the property line to the park.
And even if there was a driveway coming across that, I mean, would be an acceptable.
In my opinion,
Otherwise, you'd have half the city in non-compliance.
for parking and.
Thank you. We may have some other questions after.
Okay.
State. This is a public hearing. I do have two requests to speak. The first one, I can't tell if it's Jonathan Head or Jonathan Hood. Is Mr. Head or Mr. Hood here?
It's head like a,
I asked, okay, if you could,
am I ready?
yeah.
Am I on?
It's the green light. We turn mine off, so we'll have feedback.
Okay. I am Jonathan Head, I live at 6144 Hagerstown Drive, St. George, what's it? But it's St. George, Louisiana. And I am the chair of the Architectural Control Committee of this, of the Lake of White Oak, where this is occurring. And we have, the ACC takes, the board doesn't do this, the ACC is independent, they take all requests for this kind of work to the ACC. I was the chair and actually took this one myself and dealt with it personally. Now, he submitted a ticket, we have a ticket system, he submitted a ticket on what he was going to do on this driveway, and it was approved. The problem with what was approved and what was approved is not what he did. Okay? Pass this around. We have pictures of the ticket and what was approved. Okay, so basically what was approved was that he could come out to the road and meet the end of the driveway at the 35-foot width that his driveway already is. Okay, the driveway is already 35 feet wide. He's adding 14, that makes it 49. As stated by people in your own documentation, it's only allowed to be 20 feet wide. So therefore, he's 2.5 times, almost 2.5 times wider than the code permits. Okay? But we were allowed, but we were allowing him to come out, like, it's very common in our neighborhood to do that. You come out, you have the driveway, it comes out, and the driveway is getting wider at the street, because they're already 35 feet wide. Plenty of concrete to get out. I do have some concern on that much concrete. There's a big issue with drainage in this St. George. You got more concrete down, no matter how well you do that concrete, that's non-absorbent surface. Okay? No water gets absorbed in that added concrete. More water's gonna run off somewhere. It may all go down that little drain. I wonder. Also, that I handed to you that I informed him that I thought he would need a permit from St. George. So it wasn't like he didn't know he needs a permit. And I'll tell you, being on the HCC, even though we're very small compared to you guys, we kind of do the same thing, right? So I don't, it's very common, I don't know if you know this, but it's very common for people to build things without permits. I think they get away with it. That's just the way it is. It's not all the time. They do things like we have another driveway down the block, same thing. He's 35, 40, 50 feet wide right now. I think he's being investigated in St. Peaceful. So, it's like, we're doing something we're not supposed to do, and we're begging forgiveness, okay. If your code says it's 20 feet wide, 20 feet wide, and it's 35 feet wide to begin with, and you want to set another 14 to make it 49, that's an awful lot, it's a lot of concrete. And I said, we have to pay this, we didn't approve what he did, as you can see, in pictures when I handed out. And he didn't get a permit, and he also didn't get a permit to the city, East Side Parish either. So he didn't get a permit from anybody. And I also think that you have to get a permit for over 200 square feet of concrete. Well, this is a lot more than 200 square feet of concrete. So I'm not quite sure how that all works out. But I think that's, we were against that. But, you know, I think, same thing I do with that, with the ACC, you know, you start doing variances on things. You know, I know everybody says at the end of their variances, this only applies to this one case. You know, the guy, next guy wants to do this, comes up and says, well, I want a variance soon. So it's just a slippery slide, you're starting getting variances. And your report says lots of things, besides just the width of that street, and, you know, so that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. The other request to speak was submitted by Jordan Everett.
Hey, thank you. Can you all hear me on this? Is that good? I'm Gordon Badger. I live at 18738 Wildlife Way Drive. And I actually want to speak in support of this driveway expansion. It would take me a long time, but I can go through our neighborhood, Shenandoah, the Lake of White Oak Landing, and find White Oak Landing is probably less prevalent because they have bigger yards. But in this particular neighborhood in Shenandoah, the yards in the front are not that big, and so you want to preserve what nature you have, the trees and stuff like that, because it makes the neighborhood look nice. So you don't just want to go throw it in concrete if you can have two driveways on the property. I mean, okay, you can do that, but it would look really terrible if you had just straight driveway coming in maybe on other road. It would be rid of some trees and stuff like that. And like I said, you want the yards to look nice. The second thing is on these corner lots is where it's very common to have driveways that are wider. It's because they're so short. You can't double stack your cars in these driveways because they're so short. So you need more width. Otherwise, you're going to be parking on the street. People are going to be parking in the yards because they don't have the driveway that they need. And there's probably 30 to 40 driveways that are wider than 20 feet in Shenandoah alone. There may be even more than that. There's one in particular that's 74 feet wide. So they're approved, and people say, well, they were there before the thing changed in 2022. I don't know if it was arbitrary change to make it 20 feet in 2022. I don't know what the reason for that would be. But another thing that's very important to me is that we encourage families in our city of St. George. I really want us to be a family-oriented city. And to do that, if you're going to encourage families, you're going to incur more parking at the houses as these children get older, which means that you're going to need more places to park. And you don't want the yards to look bad. You don't want people parking on the road because that's dangerous, especially if you have young kids. You know, they can run out from behind a car and stuff like that. So I would just say that I'm in support of this because there's a limit to parking as it is on these corner lots. And the fact that the driveways are technically on the side lot of the house, I think adding another driveway in front of the house actually takes away from the look and actually negatively impacts the neighborhood. So that's all I have to say. I'm just in support of this. Thank you for hearing me. Any questions?
Thank you.
Ma'am.
It's a public hearing, and even if you haven't filled out a request to speak, if there's someone here who would like to speak on this matter, please come forward now. Thank you. Please give us your name.
Have you do anything with it?
Is it red? Is it on?
Yeah, screen now. There's a link offered in 6445. I just want to point out a few things that I'm sure I said. As far as drainage, there was already a culvert there with the existing catch basin. And you can see it in the drawing, right there, a little square on the driveway. We didn't touch any drainage, we didn't add any drainage. It was existing, way far off the house, 17, it's still there. We made sure that we didn't tamper with or touch anything with that catch basin. Earlier, it was mentioned about the driveway parking in the call it 50 feet off the street, 32, whatever. That's not the parking, that's just an ingress to get to the parking. We wanted the parking as far as we could. When you look down Doubletree from Feather Nest, you don't see a single car on the whole street. All the long driveways go behind. We're the only house that short step of driveway on the corner. So we tried to get this one up as far. We tried to get a driveway and we could pull a car across the street we could. So we didn't want to distract the neighborhood and have a car on the street or on the street. And I did submit agency approval. I had no idea that we did something wrong. Mr. Head never contacted me. He never told me they did approve it for us. And I provided approval to our company. So I wish he had told me something along the way. Just the part of it. Can I answer anything?
Anybody has any questions?
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wants to
Can I
speak?
make a comment about that? Seeing
No,
property.
no, we're not gonna have rebuttal for public comments. He's the property owner and he had not previously spoken, so I gave him an opportunity to speak, but we're not gonna have rebuttal. If someone has a question, we'll call someone back up here and ask more questions, but that's as far as it goes. So is there anyone who has not previously spoken on this matter who wishes to speak on the matter? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. Is there any discussion by any members of the board? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the request for the variance in accordance with the application, which is to approve the previously constructed driveway that reduces the corner side yard setback from 15 feet to 0 feet?
One question before we go. Have we gotten a permit for this? Since y'all,
You can't give a permit until the variance. Right. To get a variance.
You want, I put an issue on, I will.
That's the point, that just because we grant the variance, it does not forego the permitting process. You have to go in and get the permit after this board acts.
I did apply for one and was immediately denied. That's why we're here.
Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second? Would you call roll, please?
Brandon Jones,
yay.
Sheila Lewis,
Yay.
Sam Spear,
Yay.
Douglas,
Yay.
Christina Peck.
Yay. So the variance is granted. Any other business? Any member of the public here have any comments? I'd like to make, not about the variance, but anything else? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
Anybody opposed? The meeting is adjourned. The next Board of Adjustment meeting will be November 3rd of 2025. Unless there's no business for the board, and then the meeting will not be held. It'll be posted on the website.
That's a question, y'all.
Well, the meeting's over now,
Okay.
but you can ask the
Can I ask a
question.
question to somebody after? Like, we start?
That's fine.
Okay.
Next meeting's not till 6. All right, thank you.